Hello. This morning during class, I began with having a discussion, and I was going to just use the recording from class, but it didn't come out very well. The class is posted as well. The physical practice, that one's totally fine to follow along with, but the little talk didn't come through very clear. So this is my attempt to re-discuss. And it's about equanimity. So it's about finding that place within yourself that feels peaceful all the time. It reminds me of Juliet's little book called Peaceful Piggies. Peaceful Piggy Meditation. So we're going to learn a little bit about Peaceful Piggy Meditation. And this came about by, I have many decks of oracle cards, and I don't really work with them at all anymore. I do have a deck that I use at the studio called the Yogic Path. I've talked about it before. And even those cards, they're beautiful, and I'm sure with the right people, they really resonate. But I find that as a yogini and, a Buddhist practitioner, they're very big messages. And I like to give people, or I like to share the things that I learn about balance, about equanimity, about maintaining moderation on the path and not having these huge swings from being super quiet and withdrawn to being very outgoing and confident, right? I think that we can all relate to having these swings to some degree on a day-to-day basis, throughout the day, throughout our week, throughout the month, throughout the year, right? These become patterns in our lives. And I was reminded as I was looking, I came across a deck that I have spirit animals, and the messages are just huge. You're entering into this time where, lights are going to flash and, all this like super encouraging stuff, which I appreciate. But it's just like, it's not the reality of like, as soon as you put that card down and you enter into your life, that stuff isn't happening, right? It's up to us to create this place within ourselves through the practice of yoga, meditation, whatever form that you choose. Whatever practices that you do, those happen to be my practices and what I teach about. And I know that they work. They're both sciences, the science of yoga, the science of Buddhism. When we practice, we are generating, we are remembering, we are cultivating a place within ourselves that is asana, that is our seat, right? So we work to find the seat of stillness, of peacefulness within us, of happiness within us. And we know that that exists all the time. And that we have a choice to return there. And we work to return there over and over and over again. So when we have those times, when we're super confident, in ourselves, we're feeling energetic, motivated, confident. And I've seen this a lot of times in my work. People that get into yoga or healing particularly, they will be like, I'm ready, because they're having one of those moments of high confidence. And then I notice in a week or 2 weeks, then they drop off the face of the earth. And this is due to the fluctuation of their energy and whatever, their mood, their hormones, their whatever, because they haven't created that place within themselves that they can return to show up no matter what. So how can you show up for yourself no matter what you're feeling? You don't have to succumb to hiding away. Now, there are times and places where we hide away, and it's totally acceptable. But on the regular, when we fluctuate like that, you should continue to show up, because there's that place inside of you that knows, that feels stillness, that feels peace, that feels happiness. So, and it might not come through as, feeling super confident and talkative and outgoing. And that's okay. It might be when you're feeling withdrawn and you want to be quiet and you feel like you can't show up because your confidence is lacking, right? Either way, right? You still show up. So we work to generate, to reconnect to remember this place within ourselves, and to increase the capacity to return to that place through our practices. So we connect with that place when we do yoga, when we meditate, when we read spiritual texts, when we journal, whatever creative activity we do, we return to that place within ourselves where we know, right? There's a pathway and there's variation, just like in our physical yoga practice. There's variation. There is asana, where we find that point of stillness within ourselves, where we feel like we can hang out in a posture for a while and we're breathing and we're in it and we're present. And then so within that, there is checking in. Do we need to back off a little bit? What's happening? And so this happens in our body. It can be physically, emotionally, energetically. Have we gone too far, right? What's speaking to us? Do we need to back off a little bit to find our seat? Or, this is feeling like I can go a little bit deeper. Can I go a little bit deeper here? And so we go a little bit deeper, and it's all within this beautiful pathway of the flow of asana within ourselves, the finding the seat, the stillness, the peace, the happiness, right? There can be fluctuations within that. And the subtleties of the practices, okay, let's come back. How do we come back this way a little bit? Or let's bring it back in this way. And we keep returning. No matter what, we just keep returning. We keep returning to that place, that peaceful place. Even in the face of anything in our lives, right? Anything, we go through things all the time. Again, on a daily basis, on a weekly, monthly, yearly, etc. basis, we experience many different things that we can't control, but what we can control is what we practice and what we cultivate within ourselves, which is that middle path. And we deepen it. We deepen the seat. So we're very familiar. We become familiar with the feeling of peacefulness, of stillness, of happiness, of returning to witness consciousness, where we can say, aha, okay, these are the fluctuations. There's an emotional thing happening right now. There's a physical thing happening right now. I have a choice. I have a choice of how I'm going to respond. And no matter what's happening, I can continue to show up for myself. I can continue to show up for others. I can return to this place within that allows me to continue to show up. And when I show up during those hard times, I expand my capacity, right? So that way there's less impact when the things that are out of our control happen, because we're constantly expanding our capacity, right? We're increasing our toolbox. We're increasing our peacefulness. We're increasing our happiness, our joy. This is why we practice, right? So we don't have to have those enormous pendulum swings, super happy or super quiet, where we don't want to show up for anyone. We can only show up when we're super happy and motivated and ready to take on the world. But if that dwindles a little bit, I have to do more work on myself. We're constantly doing work on ourselves. We're constantly untying the knots that bind us from our past and coming into the present moment. Okay? We don't, just because the energy settles when you're in those very confident and motivated moments, it doesn't mean it's not there, right? You still have the ability to live your dharma, your purpose, and to show up. Even if you don't have that gigantic smile on your face or lots and lots of energy, you'll find that when you show up, there is an energy. You know, there is this beautiful, more balanced place that you can come into where you're like, okay, you're returning home to that path, right? The middle way, the place of equanimity. So when you pick a card, if you pick a card, or you see a sign out in nature or anything like that, right? Let it be a reminder of what exists in you all the time, instead of this enormous thing where you're like, this is it. This is it. I'm going to be in this place all the time where everything is aligned and perfect, and now I can do this. Like, you can do it anytime. So we carve out those times to practice. Just start little by little by little, breathing, reading a book about Buddhism, taking a yoga class. And little by little, we find that path, right? And we walk, and we can just, right in between. The asana is the beautiful place where we touch that stillness and happiness within. And then there's the, a little bit from side to side, backing off or going deeper, backing off, going deeper, finding the seat, coming back. If we stray off the path, we just come back, right? Compassion, compassion, compassion. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Definitely subscribe here so I can continue to hang out with you and share the things that I'm learning and the things that I love. And I'll see you soon. Let me know how your path is going, right? Where is your path? What questions do you have? Let me know. Namaste.